Hello everyone. I am Lakshmi Matli, Assistant Professor in English from Srimati I.S. Adward Government First Grade College, Ramturg. Here in this video lecture, I would like to discuss about the short story Verger. The Verger is written by W. Somerset Maugham, William Somerset Maugham. This short story is prescribed for BCom first semester Basic English of RC University, Belgavi. So let us discuss about the short story, The Verger. Before we going to deal about the story, let us get a familiar with the author, writer William Somerset Maugham. He is an English novelist, playwright, short story writer. His works are characterized by clear and unadorned style, cosmopolitan settings, and shrewd understanding of human nature. His famous works are Lisa of Lambeth, Of Human Bondage, The Moon and Sixpence, Cake and Alley, and many others. So let us discuss about the story The Verger. About the verger. The verger is here Albert Edward Foreman, verger at St. Peter's Church, Neville Road, London, Neville Square, London. The verger, this story is a powerful narrative about simple, honest man named Albert Edward Foreman. He works as a verger at St. Peter's Church, Neville Square in London. A verger here is a church official who takes care of the day-to-day activities inside the church, especially during the religious ceremonies or services in the church. The story here begins by describing the lifestyle and the responsibilities of Albert Edward Foreman, who had been serving in the church faithfully for 16 years. Note, note this point. The verger is working in the uh, church since 16 years. A loyal, neat, and hardworking, managed church duties with a great discipline despite and being a literate. Here, the arrival of new vicar. So the foreman is an ideal employee. He is regular, well dressed, responsible, and every Sunday he wears a neat black gown and moves proudly around the church, preparing everything perfectly. From the arranging the flowers to handling the altar, the foreman does everything with a dedication and personal touch. He is not educated, but he is efficient, respectful, and disciplined in his duties. The church has changed vicars, means priest. The vicaris means priest a few times during his service, but Foreman continued to do his job without complaint. Here, the arrival of new vicar means priest gives a kind of twist in the story. The new vicar is appointed. This new vicar is young and energetic, educated, and modern, full of modern ideas. He wants everything in the church to meet higher standards. At first, the vicar is impressed with Albert Edward Foreman's work. However, one day he comes to know that Foreman cannot read or write. The vicar is shocked to find the foreman cannot read or write. That was a kind of surprise to him. The vicar is shocked. He believes that it is not acceptable for the church official, especially someone in the charge like a verger, to be illiterate. So it is not acceptable things. So he calls a meeting with the church wardens to discuss the matter. The vicar does not insult the foreman directly first, but tries to reason with him. Along with the two senior church wardens, he calls the foreman into the visitory room after christening ceremony. The atmosphere is serious and the formal. The vicar tells the foreman, "We have discovered something rather disturbing. We found that you cannot read and write." The verger admits this truth calmly, without shame. He knows that I'm illiterate. The verger, the foreman, knew about himself. I'm illiterate, but I'm proud of my job and my dedication to my job. He says that it never interfered with his work. He says frankly, my illiteracy never interfered with my work. No one had complained before it. In fact, he had done his duties successfully for years, even when the other vicars were there. Here, the vicar explains that times have changed, that uneducated man cannot represent church any longer. He suggests that foreman should learn regarding the literacy, means to become a literacy as a reading and writing within a few months. He suggested him to learn to read and write within a month. The foreman thinks deeply and replies that he is too old to learn now. He is too old to learn now, and that is not ashamed of who he is. He feels hurt, but he does not argue. Instead, he quietly says that if the learning is the only a condition to stay, he will resign from the post. The vicar says foreman must learn the reading and writing. The foreman replies he is too old. So finally, he chooses to resign with a dignity rather than change at this stage in the life. He feels that to be illiterate at the old age is a kind of shame. He felt that. So after the resignation, so we can now discuss after the resignation. So what is the next move of the verger? This moment is a turning point of the story. The foreman leaves the church quietly, no anger or drama, walks through the street thinking about what to do next in the life. The moment turning point, this is the moment of the turning point of the story. The foreman who had given us so many years to the church is asked to leave the just because he cannot read and write. It was a kind of shock to himself and a kind of shock to his wife and other peoples and other visitors to the church. Yet he does not protest or show angerness, and he shows the great dignity, self control, and pride. He accepts the decision and walks out of the visitory with a calmness and grace, not knowing what to do next in the life. So, as he walks through the streets of the London, he is dressed in his black gown for the last time. So, verger, one who is a kind of officials, have to be wore that coat in the church, but he was very fond of his gown or coat, so that's why he went out of the church with wearing that gown. So he was wearing that gown for the last time, and he thinks about his next step. He passes by some lanes and realizes that there are no tobacco shops in that area. So he wants to buy, means he feels to smoke a cigarette, a tobacco. He wants to buy that cigarette but cannot find any place nearby. That is the when new idea forms in his mind. Why not open a shop here? He noticed the absence of the tobacco shop in the nearby area and gets a new idea, that is, why not open a shop here? He thinks. And this where The story take a new direction. From being a verger of the famous church, the foreman now becomes a common man standing at the crossroad of the life, and he has no education, no job, no clear plan. Yet he has something more valuable, that is experience, confidence, and common sense. So here he's just standing with the idea, why not open a shop here? This is just one idea in his mind, and standing in the middle of the street and thinking about the livelihood, means how to develop a livelihood when uh, even after the resignation. So he's thinking about this. So whether this idea of opening a tobacco shop is a successful or not, we can discuss in the next class. So I hope you have understood. So thank you.